His older brother Roby John Rodriguez will kick off the evening session tonight, but it's the turn of Rusty Jake Rodriguez right now as he rounds off the afternoon session against Finland's Marko, a man looking for his first European Tour win for 4 years. By contrast, Rusty Jake has been quite a threat, certainly of late, on the European Tour. Runs to the final day in Belgium and in Hungary, indeed reaching the quarterfinals in Budapest, and it means that if he can have another run like that this weekend, then he may well force his way through to the European Championship. His older brother Roby John forced his way through to the match play with a brilliant run to the final earlier this year in a European Tour event. It would be quite a celebration in the Rodriguez family if Rusty Jake could follow in his footsteps. But he's got to get past Marko Kantele to set up a meeting with the European champion Rob Cross, the number 5 seed here this weekend. Rob Malarkey has joined me in the comms box for the final match of the afternoon. It is RJR number 3 against Marko Kantele.
Well, it would be an astonishing swoop if Rodriguez were to back up those deep runs in Hungary and in Belgium with another one here to force his way, to gate crash his way into the European Championship. The semi-finals may be enough. A final would certainly guarantee it, just dependent upon what happens with results elsewhere. I don't think Rodriguez will be looking too far ahead at this stage of the weekend, but first and foremost, he has to take care of business against a man who is making his second European Tour appearance of the year. Kantele had a round 1 defeat by Scott Waits in the German Darts Championship way back in March of this year, so just £1,000 on the European Tour order of merit for him. He won't be entertaining too many hopes of making it to Dortmund at the end of this month. And without a win on the European Tour since 2018, as you said, Dan. So history does not bode well for Marko Kantele.
Yeah, his 3 wins on the Euro Tour coming 2017, 2018. He did have a little spell where he's played some really good darts at the PDC, but it's fair to say that we're not in a spell like that right now and haven't been for a while.
96.
But it has been a really good year for both Rusty Jake and for Roby John. Rusty Jake did have a couple of nervy encounters in qualifying for this. He beat Martin Lutman 6-5, which was the standout win of his qualifying campaign at the start of August. He also beat Alan Suter by the same score, 6-5. Kantele coming through the Nordic and Baltic qualifier, which took place in Denmark at the end of July. So he's had or both have had a fair amount of time to get used to the idea of coming here to round off their campaign in Europe. Rusty Jake in position on throw in the
85.
very first leg as well.
Rusty Jake will acquire 78.
20 for tops. Looks all right for him.
58.
Won't find it, but he will get more darts.
.54 plays 21 in terms of the age
50.
of these two. Kantele was Finland's first ever representative at the PDC World Championship. Long way inside on double 10. And he's gone back to square one for that one. Kantele, though, looking at 129 for a very unlikely steal and a fairly unlikely break of throw as well.
Ooh, now then, is it 16s? Oh, he was looking there, he just couldn't find it.
Would have left double 12, but he's wayward with that second dart.
89. Rusty Jake will acquire 20.
Well, the first dart at double 10 last time was inside by some margin. Not as far away that time, but this is anxious times for Rusty Jake, but he gets the job done in the end. Not convincing, 24 dart holder throw. Kantele with an outside chance of nicking that one, and that will give him something to work with moving forward. Rusty Jake, for all his impetus and momentum over the course of the European Tour events over the period of September, hasn't really happened for him on the Players' Championship circuit this year. He's not gone beyond the 3rd round of any of the tournaments that he's played in. I think he's one of the few that's played in all 24 of the, or not a few, but one of the several who's played in all 24 of the Pro Tour events so far this year.
100.
Yeah, not in a provisional spot for the World Championship at the moment. Rusty Jake and the Pro Tour list.
140.
This, obviously, the final Euro Tour event of the year. We've got 6 more Players' Championship events coming up as well. There'll be 4 consecutive days in Barnsley next weekend. We've got the European Championship the weekend after that, and then
58.
a double header that will round off the Players' Championship season. It'll also confirm the 64-player lineup for the Players' Championship final.
95.
Yeah, and he's currently, well, exactly 50 places below the cut-off as well. 114 on the Players' Championship Order of Merit, so I think that particular boat has sailed.
Yeah, he's closer to the world spots, but he's still 5 or 6 grand to make up. Now, another good weekend like he had in Budapest. Here, all of a sudden, things become really possible.
58.
And as we know, we've seen debut winners in the Players' Championship events this year, the likes of Jim Williams. Danny Jansen is perhaps the best comparison if Rusty Jake is looking to do that sort of thing. But yeah, he's looked with his own family what a good weekend on the Euro Tour can do.
Just inside, single. Bullseye for 2-0.
103. Marko, you
Should start on the treble 20 here, may not. Well, right decision, wrong execution, the chance evaporates immediately.
44. Rusty Jake, you require 25.
Treble 19 would have left a shot at double 18, but it might all be academic anyway. Double 4 now for Rusty Jake. It's not been finishing that's been convincing so far from Rusty Jake. He was a little bit hesitant in the first leg. And he's gone round the houses there as well. Kantele with another chance to steal. Very similar second leg to the one that we had in the first as well. Double 16 now. And this time he takes his chance. And it's a holder throw for Marko Kantele. And we're level once again at 1 apiece.
91.
Well, very solid display from Wesley Plaisier we've just seen. Willie O'Connor was convincing in his victory over Jim Williams.
Oh, maybe you can wade into our little question that we were pondering earlier, myself and Webster. I made the point that
40.
obviously O'Connor reached the final in Hungary, but has a player ever done that where they've reached a final on the Euro Tour and then not made the European Championship at the end of that same year? Has that happened before? Because that's what could happen to O'Connor if he doesn't go deep this weekend. I don't think it has, because of course we used to have only 8, well sometimes 5 of these European Tour events.
Yeah.
And of course if you got to the final, that was it. You were home and host. But I think as the seasons have become longer and longer, and we've had 12, 13 events, I think it has become...
Yes, a one-off event carries less weight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because there are so many other events.
I don't think it's happened before. I will look into this. I will do my homework when I get the opportunity in the break, maybe.
I assume Steve Lennon made it in 2018 when he reached the final in Zwolle. Certainly Ricky Evans made it in 2019 when he made a final. It's not a bad question, but it's one I do not have the answer to at the moment. You might be right. I do remember a few years back when Richard North managed to make a semi-final in the very first event of the year.
And that was it.
Then, well, it was it until the final event of the year, where he qualified and then made the semi-finals again to sneak into the European Championship.
Yeah.
59.
But he did need to have another massive run like that.
Yeah,
I think he did so.
That's right. Bookended it, yeah.
60.
Marko Kantele has stolen a march on Rusty Jake here against the darts as well. He's got 6 darts from here. Doesn't need to end up on the bullseye at the end of this.
Yeah, and when you consider the fact that he had a half chance in that first leg as well, I mean, you could easily be looking at 3-0 here for Kantele, but lots of darts to be thrown in this leg alone.
58.
And it's just a 58 from Kantele anyway, so Rodriguez can make a move here from 174 and just apply some pressure.
Marko, you require 72.
Similar checkouts. Lots of options here. 16s, 20s, 12s. Stay in there for double 16. And the Finn leads.
Yeah, he's having a bit of joy in that corner of the board, and he's turned things around. So for all this talk of Rusty Jake Rodriguez looking to maintain this impetus that he had from Belgium and from Hungary, here in Gibraltar this weekend, it's Kantele who is in the ascendancy, and he's got the break. He's throwing first here for a 3-1 lead. Quietly going about his business, as we've seen him do on occasion, not too many occasions.
I'm not sure Rusty Jake will particularly like the pace of the game playing against Marko, who's one of the more deliberate and slow players, but the fact is, Rusty Jake is averaging 70 at the minute. So I don't really think he can point to the pace of the game and say that's the reason why I'm losing. The reason that he's losing is that he's not played very good darts.
Yeah, and the first 9 is a concern as well, especially for Rodriguez, because he's not as even, well, not even as if he's got the consolation of saying, well, okay, I'm throwing well, I'm scoring well, but I'm just finishing badly. It's just not the all-round package so far.
Well, I'm not sure. Marko Kantele, that is his highest score of the match. That is his first 2 treble visit. I think his highest score prior to that was 100.
45.
Look at that, 9 darts thrown, 171 scored. That's not doing the front 9 average any good at all.
97.
All about taking care of business on throw here for Kantele. Easier said than done, but you know, Kantele's in a position now where he knows that he's not under too much pressure, but by the same token he'll be thinking, well, Rodriguez surely has to turn it on sooner or later. It's been a bit flat. Yeah.
Rusty appears to be getting worse. Well, it's poor, but
25.
it's not a terminal mistake for him. He's still got to come back looking at a 2-darter. Rusty's got it all on to leave a finish. He's not going to do that. I mean, Rusty's thrown in the manner of a man who thinks this leg is gone, and he was a couple of visits ago. And I think he's probably right. It's not gone yet, but if anybody should teach you how to just keep plugging away, Kim Huybrecht's experience beating Michael van Gerwen in Belgium on the European Tour just a few weeks ago, a leg he had given up in and started throwing at tops for practice. When Van Gerwen continued to miss double after double after double, Huybrecht's got a look at 1-3-4, hit 2 double tops, which Handley had a bit of practice at in that leg, and won the game 6-4, astonishingly.
And that sort of thing, I'm not saying it happened with Van Gerwen necessarily, but it can have a psychological impact on players as well. It's a big distraction as well. You just wonder, well, what's going on here?
140.
Kantele, you know, the numbers are not setting the world alight, but he's doing more than enough at the moment, and he's not really being extended by any stretch of the imagination. Trebleless visits, though, for Rodriguez have been his downfall, especially in that leg.
Well, I'm not sure I've ever seen Rusty look so uninspiring, to be honest. One of the exciting, thrilling young talents of the world of darts. There's nothing happening for him at all.
Even when he walked out or walked on stage, he looked a little bit flat and a little bit despondent. Looked a little bit tired, if anything. And he's not woken up so far. But the danger will be there in the back of Kantele's mind that surely Rodriguez can only get better.
95.
Well, he's going to get chances to win this leg, Rusty Joe. He's going to get a chance. He may get multiple chances. Should go to the 18s now. Yeah, gets the treble, so it's a slightly better check out than the 170 he would have left with a single. Good guide. Yeah, there we go. Right, says Rusty Jake woken up.
Sixth leg, Marko to throw first.
Yeah, best leg of the match so far by some distance as well. Rodriguez with a 15-darter for a hold of throw, but still with work to do. Kantele winning those 3 legs in 59 darts. That tells you the measure of what he's up against, or what he's been up against so far. But 3 from 5 on the checkouts. When he's getting into position, he is more often than not taking his chances. Here we go. Well, he has woken up maybe. Carrying on where he left off at the end of the previous leg.
Right, has the Rusty Jake blue touch paper been lit? You finally see a bit of the real RJR3.
140. $96.
Would be nice if we signed off in Gib with a 9-darter. Arguably the spiritual home of the European Tour 9-darter as well.
Well, certainly
58.
certainly Ross Smith's had as many mentions as any other 9-darter in Euro Tour history. Started a 5-year drought of perfect legs that was finally ended by Michael van Gerwen. We had a little mini drought of our own until Belgium recently, when Dave Chisnell managed to produce perfection in Visa.
Having thrown one in Gibraltar, I believe, last
Marko, you
was that last year?
require
No, 20.
120.
Yes, he did. He was the last person to hit one. It came in Gibraltar. Chance goes.
Yeah, that was a long way off as well. That was a very strange dart, that is.
80.
Almost in no man's land, that
Rusty
first
Jake,
dart
you
from
require
Kantele.
71.
Rodriguez looking to pounce and level things up. Tops took it out last time. Can't take it out this time. Door open once again for Kantele. After a sluggish visit last time around, he's got 3 clear darts at 20s here now. Just nudging the wire with the first. Just slide it under those 2 if you can. It was a little bit of a blocker, wasn't it? And
Rusty Jake, you require 20.
the 3rd dart was loose and it was over the top. Oh, but he will return.
Marko, you require 40.
Well, he got very, very close to this in the last visit. Well, it shouldn't be as much of a blocker dart, but that one won't help at all.
No score.
It's getting harder and harder and harder for Marko Kantele and Rusty Jake to level the match. There it is, 3 apiece, and Rusty Jake Rodriguez has become favourite for this game once more, despite the fact that at one point he was 3-1 down and averaging in the 60s.
And once again, he may well kick off with a 180, as he did in the previous leg. Just a ton 40, but it's enough to get out of the blocks, and it's enough to give Marko Kantele 1 or 2 more headaches to contend with as well.
$100.
I mean, I was right in the to the extent that Rodriguez just couldn't get any worse than he was, say, in the 4th leg, 3rd, 4th leg.
Undoubtedly he's improved, but you still had to rely on Marko Kantele making a mess of things at times. And he's missed 6 clear darts for a 4-2 lead there, Kantele.
57.
And it could come down to being the key moment in the game. Because look at Rusty finding the trebles now. Beautiful. He's on for a 10-darter. Where's that come from?
After the 24-darter and the 19-darter in the previous leg, he's now on course for the 10-darter. Kantele is miles adrift on 3-4-4. And, well, the roles have reversed. Kantele can't find a treble at all now. Whereas Rodriguez is finding them almost at will. Double 18, 10-darter incoming, and 10-darter is found. Best leg of the match. This is more like it from the man who has a quarter-final appearance under his belt on the European Tour this year.
Best leg of the day.
$41. 60.
have played each other once before, these two. Rusty did win that one. It was in Q School back in 2018 in a quarter-final there. Rusty, one of those players, of course, that we'd seen playing various tournaments before getting himself onto the professional circuit.
$140.
Decent darts from Kantele. He's only around 100 ahead. And that'll wipe that lead out.
100.
Massive leg this for Kantele. Rusty Jake winning 3 on the spin. Kantele needs to find a hole to throw.
Frustrating strain to the 5 there, leaves him on a bogey number. Here comes Rusty Jake.
Pouncing all over
140.
It. Would have been a 180 for a 3rd consecutive leg for Rusty Jake. But he will get a look at the 118. Single, treble, double required.
133. Rusty Jake to require 118.
That's exactly what happened when Marko Kantele was trying to take out the 118 earlier on.
Marko, you require 32.
Lightning striking twice. Almost found the same portion of the single 5-bet as well. It was almost a carbon copy. Inside for double 8 to level things up at 4 apiece on throw. And that is exactly where we are. Well, effectively a best of 3 shootout now. Rodriguez, I think, just about has the upper hand, certainly given the fact he's thrown first anyway. Whether we can read too much into that, I don't know.
$140.
But Kantele needs to wait a long time for this opportunity on the European Tour stage. Just the one previous appearance this year. He won't want to make it a hurried appearance. He won't want to be on the first flight back to Finland later on today, whenever that may be. This is an opportunity for him.
Well, whoever wins this,
97.
You can add it to the increasingly large file this afternoon of people who've won a game but won't be happy with how they've played.
44.
Certainly Jason Lowe won't be. Kenny Nayans, I don't think, was too enthusiastic about his own performance, with loads of missed doubles against Sean McGrath. Richie Edhouse won, but it wasn't the top-level stuff that we've seen from him in the past. Wesley plays here will be pretty happy, I would imagine, with how he played, although the numbers weren't quite as dominating as he has produced on the European Tour this year.
38.
There's another poor visit from Rusty Jake. He really is. Just when he's got this match by the scruff of the neck, he has just got bored and wandered off, seemingly.
Such a fluctuation. Seemed to be really focused when he was 3-1 down. Got his nose in front, and then, as you say, just the concentration seems to have lapsed. He's disappeared into a bit of a bubble at the moment. And
132.
well, okay, that's okay. It applies some pressure and it gets him down to a finish, but it's the biggest of the lot. And Kantele will be harbouring genuine hopes here of stealing this one for a break of throw.
From 19, leaves double 16. Beautiful check out from Marko Kantele, and he will throw for the match. Having endured an assault from Rusty Jake in the middle of the match, which saw him lose 3 legs on the spin, he now finds himself with the darts looking for his first Euro Tour victory in 4 years.
Well, Rodriguez looked to have the upper hand when he had that 10-darter. Got himself into a really good position.
70.
But Kantele with the biggest checkout of the match so far, a telling 108 and a very timely one as well. And he's kicked off nicely in this 10th, potentially final leg as well.
60.
But it has just fluctuated
60.
Alarmingly for Rusty Jake Rodriguez today. And for all the talk that we had about him making a late surge into the European Championship field, it may all be academic in a minute, because Kantele might well have something to say about this. But there's a sloppy visit again. But he's still got enough in hand, just about.
137.
That might make a difference.
Gets him right back in the leg, but he's still chasing. Gets down to the 152. Already seen that taken out today, of course.
99. Marko, you acquire 152. Rusty Jake, you acquire 135.
Missing the big number might cost him a match start there, Marko.
Ooh, snatched at that one. Kantele should get match darts here. Rodriguez
Marko, you acquire 67.
might get match-saving darts, but he's reliant upon a slip-up here from Marko Kantele. 67 is the target. 88 is the target.
51.
And it's deflected off the barrel and it's gone wide. And match darts have come and gone for Kantele. Match-saving darts incoming here for Rodriguez to take us all the way into an 11th final leg in the final match of the afternoon session. And he's done it in style as well, and he's finished it with a double 14, very reminiscent of his countryman Mensur Suljovic, a two-time finalist here, and we are going into an 11th and final leg in the final match of the afternoon session.
Has Marko Kantele blown it? Two match darts come and gone, and now he must break the Rodriguez throw in the deciding leg.
40.
It is our first last leg decider of the day. Most games have been
settled fairly sharpish.
Yeah, they have. 6-0, couple of 6-2s, couple of 6-1s. It's only the Ed House-Henderson game that made it into double digits in terms of the number of legs until this one.
Yeah, the Galliano match was 6-2, but it could have been anything really. But nevertheless, it was just the 8 legs in the end, and that's been pretty much the way of the afternoon session so far. But we've got a bit of a nail-biter in the final match to take us into the evening session, which kicks off at 7 o'clock local time. Roby John Rodriguez up against Keane Barry. Some absolute belting matches in store this evening.
95.
The aforementioned Mensur Suljovic, two-time finalist in Gibraltar, up against Keegan Brown in the penultimate match of the evening session. Vincent van der Voort against Martin Schindler has a lot going for it as well, as does Stephen Bunting against Darryl Gurney.
140.
He's not had a huge number of two trouble visits in this game, Marko Kantele. But that one is answered by one from Rusty Jake himself. He is down to a two-darter.
Has to get a ton. And then hope.
60.
Yeah, it's just 60. I don't think that'll be enough. Had he got down to a 120, it might have been psychologically better for him. Two of those. Bullseye. Oh, absolutely dead centre from Rusty Jake Rodriguez. It ebbed and flowed. He went from, well, not quite the sublime to the brilliant, but it was a fluctuating performance from Rusty Jake Rodriguez. I think he'll be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief as he comes through that one. But once again, in his second appearance on the European Tour stage this year, Marko Kantele falls at the first hurdle, and Rusty Jake Rodriguez, a quarter-finalist not too long ago, a third-round appearance as well last month on the European Tour. Maybe, just maybe, the European Championship dream is still alive. He'll have to improve some distance against Rob Cross tomorrow. The number 5 seed awaits for Rusty Jake. But that is how the afternoon session wraps up, a nail-biter. But it's Rusty Jake who wins by 6 legs to 5. Join us again at 7 o'clock for the evening session. His brother Roby John will be on stage against Keane Barry.
Rusty Jake Rodriguez battles his way into the second round. Rusty, congratulations.